morning. Let's move a few things around here. And we'll get started on this morning's project. All right, so we got this bin of cars that we took apart last night, just a few hours ago. And these are the bodies for them, so we're going to give all these a brown wash. And the brown wash we're going to use is brown. It's a very dark brown. Is a Strong Tone from War Paints. I'm actually going to see which one of these is almost nearly complete. That's dark tone. That's the black equivalent. See if we can kill one of these bottles. Okay, these are basically new. That one's basically new. All right. So we're going to get a brush here that is kind of big. Like that, like that is bad. What about this? What about this guy hanging out over here? I think this one's better. All right, so let's do the gold one first. And we're gonna put them over here as we're done with them. So let's expand the work area. Ah, yes, the creaky chair. You can find one of those today. It's really the only thing that I need on a Black Friday list. Find me a chair that doesn't bitch when I shift in it. What's this stream about? Let me go grab a car that's already built. Grab this one. It's going to be a fan favorite right here. So we take die-cast cars and we make them all apocalyptic for a game called Gaslands. It's like a Car Wars type game. So here's an example one that we finished a couple days ago. Adding extra parts and things like that. And it's super cheap. I mean, you know how these things, you know how much these things don't cost. It's a cool game. It's called Gaslands. It's made by Osprey Games, available on Amazon. It's a tabletop game. Is it like Warhammer? No. I don't know why everybody seems to know what the hell Warhammer is. I've never played Warhammer. Mad Max truck, yeah. I can't call it Mad Max because I've never seen Mad Max. I tried to. I haven't tried to avoid seeing Mad Max. It just so happens I've never seen it. Is it worth watching? Do you think it's worth watching? I tried watching it. It's like, man, it's super dated looking. Hell, I don't even know who the hell Mad Max is in the movie. Is that Mel Gibson's character, or is that the bad guy? I really don't know. Let's get these out of the way. Man, we've done 3 builds in 2 days, so things are going well. No, don't need that. That's when I have my contacts in. Right now, I do not have them in. So we need to, now one of these clippy things I can move this thing around with relatively easy. I swore there was one in here. You know, the alligator clip things. This one of them? That was about, I'll just use this stick, move it around, just scooch it over to the end. Post-apocalyptic truck, that's right. That's a good name for it. Who knows what the hell the apocalypse is? You know, it's bird flu or the dreaded C word. All right, so we can thin this stuff with water. And the whole point is to give it a less bright appearance. And these are all going to have varying weapons. These happen to be just all Mexican. These are all going to be Mexican lowriders. A herd of Mexican lowrider trucks. Well, not trucks. Some of them are trucks. Most of them are cars. Most of them are Impalas or something like that. Just happens to be the ones I have. Let's add a little bit more of this. We're going to go through a lot of this. We've got several of these to do. You can't, that's not completely applied to the Hot Wheels directly. It does have a clear coat on here before, a flat clear coat to help this wash adhere. Set that off to the side. Uno! All right. My favorite one, I think, so far. Look at this crazy paint scheme. And you can tell just by adding the flat coat to it. It used to be shiny like this. Dulled it a little bit. And of course, it's going to be dull coated at the end too. And it might not be that noticeable. You're like, man, why are you wasting your time doing that? You can't tell the difference. Yeah, you can. You got to look closely, but you just keep it from not looking like it's in a showroom, polished up. Lucha. It says lucha on it. Okay. Fight. This is like a lucha libre truck. That's what it is. That's what this is. Now it makes sense what these masks are. It's a lucha libre. So that's the, Mexican. Yeah, man, it's easy. I appreciate it. I do this because I want you guys to entertain me by just being on here, and maybe I'll motivate you to do this. This is super easy to do. It's super easy to do, and it's really easy to get consistent results. There's nothing worse if you work on models or something like that, to have something that you really like how it looks and want to like make a set of them, you know, for whatever reason you want 4 or 5 vehicles for whatever. And then every time you do it, they look a little different, like they were made by different people. So I can get pretty consistent results with this. It doesn't really take that long to do all of this. And it'd be even quicker if we didn't have to wait for these things to dry. But if it was enamels, it'd take even longer. Yeah, okay, so this is going to be a lucha mobile or something. Now, this one's like a metallic black. Well, I've been doing the cars for maybe less than a year. But I've been doing model stuff for 40 years. So I'm usually doing stuff that looks like, let's see, stuff that looks like this. So you can bring the skills of doing this stuff to the cars. Honestly, I'm having a lot more fun with the cars and the tanks and the World War II stuff. So, figures, stuff like that. 20 millimeter. Not hammer, not Warhammer. And honestly, this brown wash is one thing that I picked up from watching somebody's video to do tanks, and it works so well for tanks, I'm just bringing it to this as well. Again, it's just a way to keep the whole surface of whatever it is that you're painting from looking the same. Now, it's more noticeable on some colors than others. Obviously, it's the least noticeable on something like this, but still do it anyways. It takes a moment. All right, and then we have a Ford Ranchero. Cool vehicle. A Ford El Camino. With this color scheme, it looks like some kind of devil something or another. I bet this was a less popular vehicle than the El Camino. It's just a Ford El Camino. Ford's version of the El Camino. And that's the other thing, with the exception of something like this, I generally like making vehicles so you can tell what the core vehicle was. This is a make-believe truck underneath. Some almost like a futuristic 1950s truck is originally what it was. And we just made it look like it's going to send you to hell and back. Good morning, man. Let's see who you are. I can't read all the way out there. Ah, Mr. Tim, the Timster. How are you? Another black one, Dia de los Muertos. Got a calavera and stuff on there. Hey, calavera. $1950s style Ford truck? Maybe a Ford truck. The Durango Fandango, because it's definitely looks like it's definitely a Dodge Durango, like the first one that they made. Yeah, I've been talking about doing these guys for a while. It's time to have another team. If I want to do team games, well, you can put whoever you want on a team, but it's kind of nice that they each have a theme. I got no plans to go to any stores today. The hell for? Fight a bunch of people for stuff I don't need? I don't know who's going to get this truck yet. I don't know whether it's the Mexican lowriders, the Urban Brotherhood. This definitely has rims of unusual size, wheels of unusual size. The B team. You know, I actually have. Welcome back, Robin. I actually have an A-Team van. I was going to use it for one of my imagination games, and they were going to be like, they can shoot, but can't ever kill anybody. All they can do is wound people. But that's before I got into this game. This game's pretty lighthearted, but it also means I can just focus on building the cars and not have to worry about the rules so much. Yeah, this tuned out Ford has a lot of details on here that they've decided to mold on here, but the painting department just basically shrugged their shoulders and said, well, we're not going to paint any of it. It's got nice front and all that kind of stuff on there. And last but not least, the fajita truck. Orale! Fuego fajitas. Well, this thing's got to have a flamethrower on it. I'd be stupid not to have that. Hell, it even says fuego on it. Oh, we're going to need a little bit more. Now, what we're going to do is just going to take a little time for this to dry. Not very long. We'll decide which one we do a build on one of them, deck it out appropriately. Yeah, the front of the grill on this little food truck looks nice. They just decided not to paint any of it. Now I could repaint this, but then guess what? I'm going to lose all these graphics. And these are the two that I did about seven or 8 years ago. They don't have any weapons on them. I didn't have any weapons at the time. We're going to enhance those. It is a food truck, yep. Okay. So what we're going to do is let's make sure our hands are clean. Hand sanitizer does wonders. Now let's go get a rule book. Can't access my copy that's on the phone because we're using the phone for filming. And let's get a pencil. Okay, I'm going to do one of the Impalas first. I've got 3 of them. So the Impala is going to be a car. We'll go all the way to the back. Car is 12 points. You guessed it. We're going to want to get the 27 points. That's the sweet spot here. And a little table here. Okay, car. We're going to call this one, for the time being, I may change it. The Velvet Vato. This purple guy. Okay, it's a car. It's 12 points. It has 2 build slots. Now, I'm going to see right off the bat if there are any skills, perks as they call it in this game, that I haven't used yet that seem to be appropriate or interesting for a team of this style. Because the whole point is to make every vehicle different. Now, the first thing I got to decide is, am I going to put a ram on this vehicle? I don't want a ram on every vehicle. Road Warrior. Once per activation, if this vehicle has successfully caused 1 or more hits on an enemy vehicle at any point during this activation, this vehicle may remove a single hazard token at the end of its attack step. That's not bad. It's simple, not too crazy. Road Warrior 2. That's 2 points. All right. Let's go over to weapons. We don't want a flamethrower on here. We don't want a rocket. Rocket would use up both of them. One of these vehicles could have a rocket. For you rocket fans. Let's look at the new weapons that I just got from Creepy Hero Studios. I'm not real familiar with those. I just got them. Well, I guess I don't know about a Hot Wheels challenge. But there are Hot Wheels. And it is for a Hot Wheels intensive game. There's the multiplex of things there. One of these also has MGs, machine guns. This is the one that has a mixture of different things, including some rockets. Oh man, this looks pretty cool. What's that little one? There we go. You know, I only have 2 vehicles that have a rear-mounted weapon. I feel like giving this guy a rear-mounted weapon as well. You know, a front-mounted weapon also. But all right, we got some pintle mounts for some machine guns here, some flamethrowers. Let's see what this looks like. What's that AK? I have an AK looking thing here with. Yeah, these rockets are new. This is pretty cool. I think that's what we're going to do with this thing. Put rockets on this bastard. That looks awesome. And we're going to call this a truck so we get an extra build slot out of it and use rockets. Rockets uses up 2 build slots. Look at this big old thing. It's a surface-to-air missile. That's what it looks like. Doesn't mean that's what it's going to be in the game. This actually has a really high truck bed. So something like that might be useful. Yeah, if I put a ram on this thing, then I gotta give up one of these machine guns. Because this is a build slot, and that takes another one, and the cars only have two. We're going to build this one without the ram on it. We're going to forego the ram on that vehicle. Have those two machine guns on there. Let me get the other pieces to it and see how we need to attach this back here. Here's all the loose ends. This should be one that looks like the lay-in lowrider. Yep, yeah, it's the one that had the interior in that color, and I believe this is the color of the windows. And that one does not have an engine showing. Okay, cool. That's all the parts to it. Let's move this out of the way. All right, so if we got some kind of like a HMG in the front, that's going to be 4. And if we did the same thing rear, that'd be 4. What are we looking at? 12, 8, 22. We have plenty of points to do that, so that's safe. I just don't want to put weapons on here and then, oh, well, you actually can't carry it that way, and it's distracting. So this is going to fit over the top and the back. Are we okay with this purple ass windows? Magenta colored windows. I think so. I think so. They're going to get a little bit of a brown treatment to them. Might put some armored screens on them. I'm not sure yet. This can go glued right that. And this larger machine gun can be glued on the roof. I think that looks pretty good. I actually like the look of the front of these vehicles as they are. Okay, I think this will be the first Impala build to look like this. I got 3 of them to do, so. All right. So let's get our stickum here. Good morning, Hoffman. We did have a good Thanksgiving. And as a matter of fact, I was able to finish the Guns and Hoses. I was able to finish her up, and I was able to finish, I was able to take all these lowriders apart. Even though it was late. I didn't start till like 11 o'clock last night. Had people over, so. We did not have traditional Thanksgiving food by design. Not really a fan of it. Okay, we have some flash in here. Let's see if we can remove this without breaking the barrel. Now, it was really empowering to go and do all those little plastic enhancement parts that I did on here. So we're going to end up gluing like that, like that. We're going to put them both on one side, and then we'll put a little hatch here on the roof here, where they can access the, I guess it needs to be over on this side. And we'll put the hatch here. So the driver is the one that has the hatch. Well, that's already kind of impractical. That's already kind of impractical. All right, first thing we're going to do is we're going to get more of this strong tone. And we're going to paint over these windows because they're just too damn bright. Something like this. Now, the one mistake I made is I did not clear coat this. So it's not going to adhere as best as it could, but we're winging a lot of this stuff. This happened to me the other day also, and it'll be just fine. It might take a couple coats to change this to a more palatable color, but it will work. Meatball Thanksgiving for me, Swedish sweet sauce. That sounds good. Gotta have stuffing. Yeah, I'm a stuffing fan. Guns and Hoses, how did it turn out? Okay. Well, it's not sealed. Okay, so it hasn't been clear coated. Minigun is just very invisible. It's right there on the bottom. It's just very, very subtle. It's underneath the chin of this vehicle. Yeah, the armor plates. Building those out of multiple pieces. That was a multi-build. That wasn't as exciting as it was to finally use some of these damn super glue. That were super thin super glue. So, and I did not paint the siren up here, or not the siren, the flashing lights. I may do something there. I just didn't. I was just kind of coming up empty on what I really wanted it to do. So I think it turned out pretty well. Looks a lot better than the plastic kit that it was before. The main gun and the armor plates are a cool idea. What other weapons does it have? Well, it has a flamethrower. I decided to keep this as a turret-mounted flamethrower, and a chain gun on the front. That's it. That's all it has for weapons. The flamethrower takes 2 slots. That's the problem with flamethrowers, is they have very limited range. You know, this is the range on a flamethrower. So if you don't get this close to somebody, 2 of your weapon slots are useless. And it has only 3 ammo. So, not super useful. Not super useful. This one with the rockets takes up 2 slots. This is going to have rockets and a ram on it. It's going to have an evil looking ram on this thing. Matter of fact, while I'm thinking about it, is there one in here before I discount this? No. Yeah, this one's not evil enough. Where's the big trough of stuff? Tell you what. And I've got one particular vehicle. I was using ChatGPT for names, just to kind of unlock things. And one of them is actually gave you the name The Butcher, the Carnicero. I'm like, I'm going to name one the Carnicero. There's no doubt about it. And he's going to have probably like these saw blades or something on the front of it. But I don't know that I have the core vehicle that goes with that. Like, I'm not looking at any of these. It just doesn't look like any of them. It doesn't look like messed up looking enough. Yeah, like this thing that has the saw blades. That's the one for the Butcher. So we don't want to use that on that black Impala. Let's see what we got here. Not Impala, black Ford Ranchero. No. No. Maybe. Nope. 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 One of these toothy ones. Something like this. Something like that. All three of these the same. Yes. Yes, okay. It's like a devil's walking stick. That's going to go with that. So I have a couple of things to mess with as these things are having to dry. Hopefully a good idea. Will the car start? Will the car win? Yep, it's just customizing them. You know, a lot of people just like, they'll build cars with stuff on them for this game, and then they'll figure out what the car actually has. And that's just like not the way I want to operate. That doesn't make any sense to me. You know, I want a vehicle that looks like, man, it looks like it has a flamethrower, and then it does, you know? Otherwise, you put too much things on the cars, you run out of weapons, and then you don't even get to use them. I mean, at that point, I'd rather just play with the cars unpainted at all. They don't have any weapons, so you can have whatever weapons you want. And I don't really want to make the weapons removable. I like the idea that you have to play these cars a certain way. All right, the primer. We'll go ahead and prime. Let's see, we got any other bottle caps? We do. There's one here. This is actually a wine bottle thing. It should work fine. I think I told you, my brother, got your brother in the 3D bot maker. He was telling me yesterday he might build a downhill track. Well, I'll tell you what, it's only because that guy does all that extra stuff on it. Oh, this is a squishy material. This does not love. You know, that guy makes it really interesting because of all the editing that he does. And that's a colossal amount of work. I'm actually going to paint the underside first. And then we'll use this. Hold that up to the, man, this is sharp. Yow. I just enjoy watching the videos. You know, those track pieces are hard to come by. You know, you can't go to a store and get them. And I know that for instance, the track that he has painted for I'm gonna say WRX. No, what is it? The WRC. The rally thing. He has that painted because it doesn't come in like a sandy dirt color. So I don't know whether he paints them or he has somebody helping him or something like that, but looks pretty good. Your first car was 1978 Impala. Easy to work on, lots of space. Front alignment could do pretty well with just chalk and level. Hey, Tony, really? What's the name of the game? Oh, it's called Gaslands. And again, I apologize for this being a reverse video, but unless I go through a lot of calisthenics, this automatically defaults to, I can't, you'd think there'd be a button here to switch it, but you can't. It's called Gaslands. Refueled is the second version of it. Well, I wouldn't stop your brother, man. Let him go to town. You know, if I was going to do something like 3D Bot Maker, obviously a shittier version of it, because, you know, 3D Bot Maker stuff's amazing. The first thing I'd have to get is one of those little timers that when you cross that point, it gives you the time results. The thing I dislike the most about his video, and I would never do, is I don't like the after the fact commentary. I don't, it almost seems like cheating to me. Like I've done a lot of live videos, a lot. And the stuff that comes out of my mouth is spur of the moment right there where it happens, non-edited. And that's how I like to roll. I wouldn't want to be like announcing a race. Well, he's got to win this one to make a difference. And then, but you already know that whether he's won or not. Like, that's just like I'm fooling myself. You know, it's not like my thing. Yeah, it's a cool game. There's lots of videos online. I can tell you that I have not seen most of them. I've seen very few of them. And there's some team ideas that are in the game that I don't really care for. The game is pretty solid. It's fun, but some of the fluff I'm not a fan of. So I'm creating my own fluff. But the fluff doesn't really matter. It's the core mechanics of the game. You could turn it into whatever the hell you want to. You could do cars from like TV shows and movies. That's what you want. You have 18 Van and Starsky and Hutch, or whatever it is that you could do. I got a James Bond car sitting over here. It's going to be in the game. I mean, it won't be James Bond, but it'll be obvious what it is. Something like that. Sky's the limit. And I could build these to whatever point value I wanted to. I'm just kind of, I like to play by the rules, and even if the rules are mine, but be consistent. Now, this particular one, this is a machine gun by Switchyard Studios, these AKs. But these top machine guns are by Creepy Hero Studios. And they're both good. 7 or 8 years ago, when the first set of rules came out, because the refueled is kind of the enhanced one. This has more stuff to it. I had painted these Mexican lowriders and just didn't put any weapons on them because I didn't have access. It was like, oh yeah, you could just take Warhammer bits and cut them off and make weapons. And I'm like, all right, well, I don't have any Warhammer. I've never played Warhammer or 40K. Never played any of that stuff. So I really don't have stuff laying around. I wasn't doing my World War II stuff yet, so I didn't have like a bunch of World War II weapons sitting around I could just put on there. So I just painted those two and just never did anything else with them. All right, and the whole reason I'm doing this first is so we can get in here and paint the underside of these rockets, and then flip it over and finish them off. Well, missing a wing on one of the rockets. Shit happens. That one won't hit. Dukes of Hazzard, yeah, you do Dukes of Hazzard. You could do man, I was watching Live and Let Die day before yesterday, and they have a vehicle in it, and they call a white pimp mobile, and that thing is awesome. Well, I mean, I wouldn't drive it around, but for like this game, awesome. It's Whisper's car, and I'm like, somebody's got to make a die-cast version of that. And supposedly it's a car they only made, according to Wikipedia, they only made like 7 of them, and it's called a Carvanaro, a Corvorado. That's what it is. It's half Corvette, half Eldorado, half Cadillac Eldorado. They only made 7 of them. It almost looks like a vehicle that's tuned, as in cartooned. I was like, somebody's got to make that a diecast. They do, in 1/43rd scale, a ridiculous numbered scale. They don't make it a 1/64th or anything close to 1/64th. So that's really disappointing. I would have lost a bet on that. I figured they made everything, especially since they make movie cars, and people like Johnny Lightning sell like movie cars, and they charge like $20 for them. All right, let me go get my soda. Just a moment. Dukes of Hazzard. Yeah, you can do the whole Dukes of Hazzard thing. Boss Hogs, whatever the hell that thing is. Cadillac. Pretty sure it's a Cadillac. How many cops he had? 3? Roscoe P. Coltrane. They had like a Enos. Didn't have a like a what's the other name that I like to use? Cletus. Didn't they have like a Cletus or something like that? I want to say they have. I mean, I watched that when I was like 7 or 8 years old, or 9 or something like that. I don't think after 9 I've ever seen it. I had like 3 cops. So they had like Roscoe, and they had 2 other cops, and like it's almost like they rotated them out or something like that. Cooter. And my pickup truck is my tow truck, which doesn't look anything like Cooter's truck, is going to be Booker. Just hadn't decided what kind of weapons it's going to have yet. Yeah, so many of their shows just really. I didn't really like that show. I mean, I watched it because it was on, but I didn't really like that show. The show I did like was like $6 Million Man. I thought $6 Million Man was really cool, despite the fact that when they made him, let's make him run fast. All right, let's slow down the film. I don't know what it must have been, the drugs those people were doing in the 70s, where that kind of made sense. All right, squish this down. These are beautiful looking rockets. I'll tell you what, it is fun as hell going to whatever store you want to go to and go, hold on, I'll be right back. Let me go to the toy section and just see what kind of die-cast stuff they have there. It's just cool to look through it. You know? There's some ridiculous things that would never work. Like, they make a couple of really ridiculous Hot Wheels, and they've got to be the Hot Wheels that sell the least. Like, I saw some like little car that was shaped like a sushi roll. It didn't even look like a sushi roll. You'd have to explain it to somebody that it's a sushi roll. Or like one that was like a phone, like a telephone. One of them that was like a Lucky Cat. That was, I think when it rode, I think the paw moved up and down. Maybe I'm misremembering it different. That's something different. But some of those are like a scooter. It'd be like a Vespa or something like that, and it's like, the same length of one of these. So of course it's way out of scale. Useless. And you get this one guy that has this diecast channel. I forget what it's called. I'm subscribed to it, but I don't remember what it's called. And he'll do like whole case unboxings of different models, like Hot Wheels, for instance. I'm sure Matchbox does it as well, but Matchbox, Hot Wheels will have throughout a year. There's models that will only come out in different sets. So when they ship these to the stores, they're in case A, case B, case C, D. So A, like a 2026 A was already like out in stores, right? Probably like October the year before. And then maybe in November they'll ship the B's and then the C's, and kind of like with model cars, you go to a dealership and it's 2025, but they have a 2026 version already out there. And they do that through all the way through about like P. So whatever that is, 18 different sets in 12 months or something like that. So, and they'll be, like this will be part of one set and it won't be in another one. And I mean, I didn't know any of this stuff until I saw people do these unboxings. And you can buy a whole case of the cars. Of course, you don't know what you're getting, and you're still, I think, paying the same price. So I just don't see buying all these other things and having repeats of them or whatever. But it's really interesting watching the unboxings of them. This guy literally will pull them out of the case. Wearing gloves, I don't know why, But that's his thing. Maybe he's got his fingernails painted and he doesn't want people making fun of him. I don't know. But I was watching one of the 2026 KCs last night when I was trying to go to bed. I fell asleep immediately. I made it through like 4 cars and I haven't gotten a chance to take a look at that. But if you watch those videos, it kind of keeps you on the lookout for what may be in a store, what you may find. You know, that some vehicles are very hard to find. It's hard to find Porsches, Ferraris, you know, the ultra sports cars, the cars that none of us would be able to afford in real life. Those cars are very hard to find on the shelf. They're usually the first to go. I like them all. You know, cars that are super fast are fun, and and clunkers are fun too. So it's all doesn't make a difference to me. They all cost the same. And of course, there's treasure hunts and ones that are like rare, and I don't care if they're rare. Where they're gonna get painted, they're gonna have weapons put on them. All I want to do is just pay retail. I don't want to pay $7 for one car. I want to buy, $1.24 or whatever the hell they're going for. But there's I had no idea there's this whole subculture of the cars, and there's sets, and basically, like, if you want to go to Walmart, they're only going to have, they're restocked their shelves, so you're not going to find something from like 2023 on the shelf. Like, it's gone. Your older brother still has Steve Austin doll. Well, you can look through the bottom. I remember that, man. I remember that. Yep. And the bionic noise was wild in that show when the slow-mo kicked in. Yeah. He had the strength, the speed, and he could see well. And the bionic woman, she had hearing. I think she had strength also and speed. I want to say she had something else. Of course she had hearing. What's up, man? So this is why I'm working on multiple things, because it takes a little time for these things to dry. And it's really only priming and washing. The rest of it, I can just keep going from one thing to another. Like, when we were working on this Wednesday after work, I really didn't have to wait much for drying. I just basically worked on this one vehicle. So, the windows on this ranchero, I believe, are yellow. I believe they're these right here. Yeah, and see, they work in the color that they are. Okay, so those are good as is. And the interior of the ranchero should be easy to find because it will say the vehicle on it, and there's only one. Ford Ranchero doesn't have an interior. If it does, it is a 2-seater. Yeah, and there's some stuff like I was showing you guys yesterday. This gold truck, for instance, has like a big boom box back here. Look on the front seat. There's like a little toy truck there. So there's all these little hidden Easter eggs. That's the 50s truck. Is it this one? I have a feeling this is what it is. Here's this. This goes like this. Oh, it helps if I put it in not upside down. Okay. That's the one. Okay, cool. We're painting Hot Wheels for post-apocalyptic racing. Oh, here's an example of a finished one. They're not all going to look like this. They're usually vivid colored, like this. It's going to have this little nachos type logo on it. It looks like a bunch of little Dorito chips. Not really. Yes, but no. So. Yes, but no. All right. This guy, I'm not going to paint the interior. It's black. It was gray. And all we're going to do to it is we're going to assemble it again. And we're going to use hot glue to seal it back up. Of course, we're going to paint the rear. We're going to need to take some of this melted stuff off. There's not a lot of ground clearance on these things at all. Did we flip this thing? No, but I'll be able to get in the other side. Okay. So this is going to go in like this. This is going to go in like so. We're going to hot glue gun this in place right now. Let's fire her up. Super handy to use a hot glue gun. It's basically immediate gratification. Yeah, but this paint scheme, this is going to be something del diablo. Something the devil's something or another. I don't know what the name of it is yet. We'll have a name for it by the time we're done with it. Cool looking vehicle. Gas guzzler, no doubt. We'll have this thing fired up. This hot glue gun has worked really well. There's a lot of ones that are out there that are really crappy. This one's made by Gorilla Glue. And I think it was like 24 bucks or something like that. I've had it a couple of years, and it's pretty solid. And they have price points out there from, I don't know, probably something like it's under 10 bucks. I'm sure they have some under the 10. I don't want to buy one that was too cheap that was going to burn out on me. So we're going to seal this thing together. Then we will go ahead and paint in a dark metallic color the front grille, the back bumper, and hopefully by that time that front thing will be ready to go as well. Now all we're going to do is we're going to just squeeze this stuff in here. Okay, while that's happening, we're going to get our super glue, the blue one. And we're going to go ahead and glue these wheels so that they don't move. So we're going to push that out. Squeeze a little bit there. A little there. You'd think you're like, oh, well, if taken apart, you can just glue it shut. It doesn't work that way. That would make sense, and that's the first one I did. I'm like, man, this isn't working. And unlike epoxy, if you've got any of these like little stringy stuff, you can just peel it off. It doesn't mess up any paint or anything. Maybe a little bit more back here. Let's say this is going to be one of my favorite ones, but they've all been one of my favorite ones. The one I probably dislike the most, the one I'm probably the least happy with is Ramrat. And people love Ramrat. It just doesn't do anything for me. Oh, what do we got here? We got a Napoleonic flag or something? It's like a French tricolor, is it? I'm not sure what I'm looking at. Yeah, I don't see the point in collecting toys. Here we're like modifying them and we can use them in a game. So we're technically playing with them and in an adult way. All right, this front of this isn't completely dry, but the back of it doesn't have any paint on it. Let's see how this fits on here. I feel like this almost needs a brace underneath it, but there's not really any way to attach this other than you use a big old goop of glue on it on the front of this, which we could do that. This is definitely the ram for it. These rockets will sit back here. I mean, that looks like it belongs on it. Let's go down here where my plastic stands are and stuff. Lots of leftover stuff. Lots. The only problem is this is a material that won't super glue well together. We'll take something small like this one right here. This remnant. A remainder. Now, how low is this? Okay, I think I can glue the bottom of this in the middle, and then we can attach this somewhere here, so we don't have to fill this entire gap between the front of the lights up. So how long do we want this to be? Let's see if this even works. Yeah, it's pretty weak. But if this works for us, we can use epoxy and put this in it. It definitely won't move then. That's how I want it to look. That looks pretty freaking badass. That looks pretty freaking badass. And like, why would you repaint this? Like, it's got a cool color scheme. They're all cool color schemes. By the time you add the color of the weapons and stuff like that, they look pretty. They look pretty awesome. They look pretty awesome. Now, this is probably dry now, ish. Yeah, it looks much darker. Is the rims on this or the wheels on this were actually like magenta. I'm like, that's not gonna fly. That's a little too outlandish. And this will end up having the machine gun like this. And we'll probably paint the back of this window solid. Maybe put a little hatch there so they can access where this machine gun is to change the magazine on it. Okay, I don't think we need the hot glue for anything else. So let's unplug this thing. Let's wind this up in a way that we don't put the cord touching the tip. That's a good way to make it so we can't use it again. All right, don't need this either. Where's our plastic sheeting that we have left over from yesterday? Here. And where is our little cutting board? Is this one? This can be one, yep. It's not the one I was using yesterday. This is the one I was using yesterday. Something relatively hard when we cut against this. This is a top of a plastic container. This is what we built all these little vision slots and stuff out of. Okay, let's do the velvet vato first. I'm going to leave the side windows as they are in this color. It should still be sharp enough. Well, we need to get rid of this on the end. Let's check and see if this is sharp enough. Yeah, okay. Cool, we won't replace it though. All right. So on this one, we're going to make an armored plate for the front of this. So I'm going to take this, like I said, this is basically a free material, and just cut it down a little bit the size. This stuff slices really, really easy. Okay. If you put this on the center there, it just cuts so much better than so many other things. All right? Just little by little. Okay, so the sides are about the right size. We're going to keep that at the bottom. We're going to come in to about there, and we're going to come in to about there. All right, so we're going to and I'm going to cut under that a little bit. So we can adjust it. Okay, and then we're going to cut the bottom of this off a little bit. And then we're going to cut about that much off the top. Cut a little bit more off the top. And all these little pieces, we use them. We use them for little rain shields and things like that. I didn't think I was going to, but they really were quite helpful to have around. Let's bend this a little bit. Stuff bends great. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. This is made in some welding shop by just providing some protection. Now, I'm going to go ahead and create a vision slot here for the driver. Let's sand the bottom of this. We got to be careful because some of this stuff doesn't sand well. It gets furry. Some of this plastic just does not do well with sanding. I'm going to take this and we're going to put a little vision slot here. Something like so. Let's punch that little piece out. And let's clean up that opening. That's right. I used to love that show, man. Loved it. Yeah, I'm gonna make the slot a little bit bigger. You know, people go like, man, you didn't watch Starsky and Hutch? I mean, I didn't watch stuff like that. I mean, like 7 years old, I'm not gonna watch. And then, you know, by that time, why would you go back and watch something old like that? The biggest problem I have with watching stuff from the 70s is wild hair. How much hair people had on their head. How much hair men had on their head. Like, dude, like, I don't know how you could stand it. People always like to complain, the music in the 70s is terrible. Not compared to the stuff people wore. You remember the Bigfoot episodes? There were Bigfoot episodes? Yeah, I don't remember that. Yeah, I guess Bigfoot was bigger in the 70s. You know what else was bigger in the 60s and the 70s? Quicksand. You thought quicksand was going to be like a problem as an adult. You grow up like, man, I got to be careful. I got to grow up and make sure I get all these quicksand skills. Skills like get out of quicksand if I ever encounter them. Where the hell would you be? Every show seemed to have those. That was the multiple universes from the 1970s. Common theme there for that. And you could justify this looking shoddy, but I don't want to. Want to make this look good. It was, man. It was in everything. I don't think I watched many episodes of the Hulk. Didn't watch many episodes of Wonder Woman. Never was really into superheroes. I think we're going to switch this blade out. We need some precision getting into those places. Where is the whole bunch of blades? I thought I moved them over here, but I did. I just hid them from myself. Quicksand. Another thing that was big in the 70s, 60s to the 70s, this idea, and I think we kind of gotten away from that. Not there was that many things with dinosaurs, but there was always like this. Oh, I was always into dinosaurs. That was like the big thing I was into back then. And if you put any kind of humans and dinosaurs in the same place, not like time travel, that's okay. Not a Jurassic Park type environment, that's okay, where they get created. But just like, if you insinuate that there was like early man or, humanoids and like giant lizards at the same time, I'm like, I'm out. I just automatically tap out. I'm like, I don't have anything I don't care what else you have to say. I have a dinosaur, caveman, what do you call it? Derangement syndrome. You put those two things together in the same program, I'm out. Like, I'm not interested in watching that. This one's being really difficult. This is what I was talking about. It gets kind of furry. I'm not really sure what's going on there. Let's just need to take enough of these little furries off. Okay, that's good enough. And now what we're going to do is we're going to add a little rain guard to the top of this. Where's the tweezers? I'm going to do some tweezer work. When I'm building this stuff, I feel like I'm cleaning my area like every day. There it is. What are you doing all the way over here? You son of a bitch. See how we're doing size-wise. Yeah, I want it a little longer than that. Something like that. So then if your top edge isn't completely even, by the time you put this on there, it will be. Now, what we discovered yesterday, and we use this one because it's easy to avoid getting paint on this and ruining a paintbrush, is we have found a use for a couple of the different super glues that I have. One of them is this slow adjustable positioning one. I'm just going to put a little glue dot of it here. And then we're going to put one dot of it here in the middle, just to secure this in position where we want it to go. And you're going to be difficult today. Dude, we kicked some serious ass yesterday with this method. And since I'm not rushed, because I got about 5 minutes until this glues, we can sit it where it needs to go. And then you can come in with the super thin liquid control, like liquid out of control, more like it. We'll put it over here. And we'll run it across the top. Yeah, if this was weld cement, it'd be so much happier. It'd be so much easier to use. I'm glad I wasn't the only kid worried about that. Yeah, you thought it was like a big issue, you know, it's like and every show had that. It's probably, it might have been a 60s thing more like it. Gilligan's Island obviously had it. I bet Lost in Space had it. $6 Million Man probably had it. There's probably an A-Team episode of it. It's like a recurring problem. I mean, we need a Department of Defense against quicksand, you know? Now we're going to do the same thing with this. We're going to bend this just a wee bit. It's not much of a curvature on this thing. And we're going to take some of this, the one we can adjust, and we're going to put a couple dots on here, avoiding the area that would normally have this slot on it. And then we will position this armor plate piece. Now this machine gun has a charging handle. On that side, I may actually reverse the machine guns. We might put this AK one facing forward. Because the charging handle to put it here is in the right place to put a little hatch on that side. And then we can put this one more like in the middle. And it'll be considered a heavy machine gun both directions. Doesn't really matter. It's like, well, isn't that really like a submachine gun? Don't worry about that. You're reading too much into it. It is, but it fires. It's a 12.7 millimeter firing AK. Don't worry about those details. All right, so we're going to make a little hatch for the roof. Okay, so we're going to take a little piece of sheet styrene and see if we can make some 90-degree cuts in here. It just cuts like a breeze. Something about this size. And we'll move the machine gun more over here. So you can open it and access it. Like, this isn't really important, but I'm having fun with this shit. I'm having fun with that. Now, if we're going to have that, then this thing has to have hinges, and it's got to be on this side. Or it'll open the wrong way. Now, there's a tiny little angle on this, a tiny little angle. And I'm going to keep it on the front. I'm going to try to match the back one to have the same one. Just something like that. And we're going to slightly round these corners. Don't get furry on me. I see what the problem is. The problem is this has actually gotten bent out of shape. Somehow. Perfect. These tweezers are close to 40 years old. Or I've been abusing them for almost 40 years. That's what the top hatch is going to look like. I might even put something that looks like a periscope on there. That's how we want that to be on there. That way you have an access to reloading the weapon, even though you have to bring it in from the other side. You can't have I can't have that hatch on top of the driver's side, because once he starts driving, that's it. You can't reload the weapon. Stuff that's not important in the game, but is kind of fun for the, the building of it. Okay, let's remove the gun. And let's glue that in place there. So what we're going to do is we're going to find this newfangled technology we've used of using the one glue to hold it and the other one to secure it. We're going to remove this. And we're just going to put one dot here, in an area that we think that is a place where the gun will definitely be. So the machine gun's going to be over here. We just need to hold this in place and be able to adjust it. So we're going to do something like that. Squish it down. I'm happy with that. And come over here and do the same thing with the supposed hinges. Same thing, let's hold it in place with one. I only started doing this yesterday, so. Okay, so now we have our little hatch like that. And then what we're going to do is we're going to take this thin glue and we're going to go all the way around the edge. Finally finding a use for this damn thin glue. This thing dries super quick. They have like no time to adjust and any of that stuff. Let's move this out of the way. Almost like we're welding this. Okay. Now, do I have stuff that's thicker than this? It's a little thicker. This cuts for shit though. We just need a tiny little piece. A little piece of a hotel key card. I'm going to put a little periscope on this thing. Something, a little something, something. Actually, this would probably work just fine. Let's see what this looks like on top. Just make it smaller. You know, because this guy's got no vision slot over here. He's just flying blind. Okay, it's the same thing. We're going to secure this with probably not going to do anything on the edge on that one. And now we have a hatch with access to, oh, it's not this one, with access to DMG. It's going to be on the roof. Okay. And I might actually change my mind and actually put this one up here like that. But we have access to it. I like that. Me likey, me likey, me likey. Now, I don't have to build an armor plate on this. I can just end up painting this like it's steel. I actually could have done that with the front too. So I'm going to do that with the back, but I want a little opening where they can change the magazine, what have you, because it's going to be sitting like so. So we're going to use something like this. And let's cut the height down a little bit. And do this 90 degrees, see what we got. See what this is looking like. Man, it's bright as hell already out there. Okay, maybe a little bit less height, less tall. And I'm gonna secure it like that. So again, we're just gonna use couple drops here. In an area that we know we're gonna want covered. Again, I'm gonna go ahead and round these two little corners. We're going to hinge this from the top. We want equidistant from both sides. And this is going to be glued like such. All right. And the side windows, well, they've just got bulletproof glass. All right, so I could probably just go ahead and glue these now and just paint around this stuff. It's a car, so it's got a crew of 3. So there'll be one in the front seat driving, an assistant guy shooting here, and then one guy back here. That way it'll balance out. Not super important, but in a way that it makes sense for me. Now I'm going to go ahead and use the slow build glue, because if I need to adjust these guns, I don't want to have 0.3 seconds to do it in, and it really sets really fast. And then if you want to pop it off, and then you have to reset it, then you have to take all the glue off and all that nonsense. So okay, that's that gun, and this one that's on the back. Of course, we're going to have a trunk that we're not going to be able to open. Well, I could just have it up like this. One fires one way, one fires the other. Nah, there's some reasoning for that. That might be a bad idea. That may not be a bad idea. Let's do that. I haven't done that. I have not done that scenario in any of them yet. Let's put 2 guns on the roof facing opposite directions. And then just to make them different, we'll make this a machine gun firing to the rear and an HMG to the front. Because this looks like a 50 caliber. And this looks like an oversized AK. And that way we don't disrupt this cool paint job this thing has. I mean, it's cool. I mean, I wouldn't drive a vehicle look like that, but it's cool in the game. Okay. Now, there's extra scraps of styrene. Styrene scraps. The fuck was that? Okay. Gary Blackwell, welcome. I'm going to take a thin piece and glue it across the top of this, just to make it look like it's got something worth looking at. Now, is it longer than this? It is not. All right, so we're going to go across like that and go pop this little guy off. Yep. And yeah, it's going to make it look a lot more finished. We need to cut this down just a tiny little bit. Taper the ends a little bit. Well, I just don't want to make it look like you just added a bunch of trash. Like some effort needed to go into it. And of course, the painting part is I think the easy part. That's the easy part for me. It's the one that I've got years and years of experience. I'm new to this, all this little scratch building stuff. Loving the hell out of it. All right, we're going to take this little piece and we're going to bend it a little bit. And then we're going to take this adjustable super glue and we're going to put a glue dot in the middle. We're going to put one over here. And some there. I'm going to come in with this. The patience of this is easy. What you don't want is to be rushed by the super glue, like setting immediately and be like, oh shit, you got to get it right. You know, you got 0.3 seconds to. We can adjust this where it needs to be. And now we have a little rain guard against the whole top thing. We're going to do the same thing with a piece on the back. Just that little bit of like extra stuff. And every time you add like a little edge, a little piece of armor, it's another little place where you can have some corrosion and like rust dripping down that just makes it look more believable. I got to use the little boy's room. I will be right back in just a moment. Okay. Nice. And you get to see the front of this Impala, which, you know, will get painted. I don't know. I don't know that there's that much more stuff we need to do to this guy. What? Hold on. Did we not glue the wheels? All right. Well, we gotta fix that stuff. And the whole reason to glue the wheels is because when you move them on the template, you don't want the vehicle to like move from its final positioning. That's kind of a problem. So put a drop there, put a drop there, there. Get out of the way. Pull it out. There you go. And over here, same thing. Oh. We glued one. Which one did we glue? Was it this one? That's what it was. Okay. All right. Pretty cool. But yeah, working on two, that allows me to go in between them. All right. While the rest of this super glue is kind of gluing, I'm going to go ahead and put the thin here at the top. So I got this thin super glue. I never had much use for it at all. This ultra liquid control. It is just like thin oil. So now we're just going to put with a brush that we're trashing. We're going to just run this across the top. And that way we'll have a secure bond with this styrene. If we was using weld cement, that's what we would use, but weld cement doesn't work with this material. All right, and there is a little bit of squishiness there. And then while these super glue things are gluing, we're going to move to the Ranchero. Okay. Have this attachment here work. Man, these things are pokey. It's like one of those devil's walking sticks. Devil's walking stick plant or tree or whatever the hell they are. Okay, and we're going to have this thing rested like that. I'm going to wait to glue this because that makes weathering down here a lot easier. You know, I'm fine having the windshield that color and the side being open. I don't think I'm going to add any armor plates to it. I'm going to leave it as is. It looks pretty damn cool. So we're going to start on this thing. We're going to go ahead and prime this area in black here that's back here. And by the time we're done with that, we'll switch to this one, finish priming that one, and just alternate between them as we can, depending on how things glue. And we need to have a snack because I'm freaking dying. I'm dying here. All right, let's get in here and prime this up. Okay. I'm pretty sure this thing I ended up getting from a bargain bin. What year is this one? 2008. I definitely did. Cool vehicle. It's not a vehicle I probably would have liked as a kid. I would have wanted a Porsche or a Ferrari or a Lamborghini or something like that. Now, I saw an article. I really didn't process it, but I saw an article recently where the guy had made vehicles that are lowered. Like he lowered Hot Wheels, right? I'm using these guys basically how they are. And I'm wondering if I can't try to do some of that stuff. And use this vehicle as base. You climb it here. Had this vehicle a long time. It's a pretty unexciting looking vehicle. As the butcher of carnicero. I may do that. I may do that because I got those damn saw blades that look like, you know, insane. You want to play a game? Now, the problem with having a rear firing weapon in this game is you're going to shoot after you move. So unless the guy is right on top of you, when you move away from them, they're going to be out of range. Now, the one thing I was disappointed about Gaslands, there's really one thing I'm disappointed about Gaslands. We've only played Death Race. And the other day I actually looked through the rule book, like in detail. Like, what are these other ways to play the game? Big Game Hunter, Desert Strike. You know, Desert Strike's like, okay, everybody has like flying vehicles. And there's Saturday Night Live. Lots of different ways to play the game. Maybe not lots, but 7 or 8. And other than Death Race, they just don't appeal to me. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to try them. We're not going to try them, but it kind of leaves it open for creating your own styles of playing the game. Whatever those may be. has a lot of like tournament methods, but just having the narrative develop is what interests me. What do you like about Death Race? Do they have something where all the players try and take out a boss, or a larger vehicle? They do. And a larger vehicle is kind of like ridiculous looking. Like they have something called like a Truckosaurus, and it has like one flamethrower, one gun, and it's like weird. But I think we're smart enough, we can come up with our own stuff. Like that one game I ran with the cops, I'm like, let's just start the cop in the opposite direction. And it made the game really interesting. You have like a salvage way to play the game, where there's different spots on the map. If you run over there, you get like a free weapon added to your car. I mean, kind of neat, but a bit of a video game type of thing. I told Mitch, give it a year or so, we'll have our own blind general version of this. We'll find a way to do blind general. Like you roll the dice and everybody else tells you you have to try to make decisions not being able to. I think we can do something like that, and it'll be cool. Again, make special rules as long as they affect everybody equally. Doesn't matter. Twisted Metal. I've never played it. Maybe I should watch some Twisted Metal videos. There's a video game called, I never had it, never played it, Harmageddon. You're basically like a demolition derby. And in practice, seems pretty cool. I think I played a demo of it and I'm like, okay, that's enough. Too much of the same thing over and over and over and over again. Interstate 76 is the one that I played a fair amount, a long time ago. And enjoyed it. I'm not much of a retro gamer. You won't catch me playing something I played decades ago. Like, hey, let's play what was that Battle of Britain game? The Finest Hour, Battle of Britain by Lucasfilm. I'm not playing that shit. Looks like ass. Looks like I'm playing it, with my contacts taken out. Can't see shit. All right, we got everything primed on this guy. Everything's black that will be painted over. As I find a spot. I don't like pre-painting things and then gluing them on, because then you have like shiny bits of glue and stuff. I'd rather paint them in place if I can get away with it. Okay. Oh, let's not forget the inside of this. All right. Now we'll go back to Ranchero. And the one thing that's holding everything up is being able to glue these rockets on here. And the reason they're doing everything up is I got to be able to weather under here. So I may skip ahead and weather this just so I can go ahead and glue the rockets in place. I hope this is durable enough. Okay, where's that 10-bit stuff at? 10 bits made a deep impression on me. I want to continue calling things that, even though they're not that. Rough iron. Yeah, you should watch some videos. I think you'd get some good ideas from the cars. I've always said all your cars look like a video game lineup. Well, you see what I mean about repainting these? It's a lot of extra work. Like, this is a really cool, I mean, I wouldn't drive something that looked like this, but this looks really freaking cool, you know? You know, and it's like, man, I don't know what color to paint it. Well, you can see what it looks like. Do you like it in, do you like it in this color? Well, if you do, well, there you get to see what it looks like. All right, we're going to do this 10 bits color. Rough iron. You just brought this in from the weld shop. Let's get a brush that's a little larger, maybe even dry brushish. And let's dry brush this face of death. That's it. Now, not ready for that yet. Okay. Let's do the parts on here that are going to be silver or something like that. Going to be metallic on here. Let's get the darkest one, which of course is Iron Warriors. Chat GPT is actually pretty handy. I just said, well, let's see what this Chat GPT thing can do. Like, give me a scenario for Gaslands or whatever. And like, it remembered that I had created a team called Boombox Carnage, and that had urban vehicles. Like, it remembered all that, right? I guess you got to be careful what you feed it. Luckily, I'm not doing anything inappropriate on it, because that could come back to haunt me. And but I said, hey, give me a scenario for for a Gaslands thing. And it went and typed this whole elaborate scenario how Boombox Carnage had this big boom bus and they needed to deliver this amplifier to a certain place on it in a certain amount of time, a certain amount of turns, for the big event. So it knew enough to kind of point me in that direction. I thought that was really interesting. So you do the same thing. You got the little fajito. You know, you got some starving folks that want the food truck to make it there. You know, and other things like that. That seems pretty mundane. Like, I have to find out what this twisted metal is all about. Whether that that vehicle with the clowns is something that you play, or I mean, I've got one. I've got a vehicle that's already. It's called Ice Cream. Where's Ice Cream? I just saw it the other day. Here. Nope, that's not it. Here it is. Look, it's got some evil, demented clown-looking guy. Treats for creeps. Ice Cream. Well, you see what this thing has on it? It's got like a little jack-in-the-box thing. I have little jack-in-the-box things you drop. I got them from the clown set, so this thing's probably going to drop those things. So, we'll see if we can watch some videos or whatever. I don't know. I don't know where we're slated to play again. It's not really important. A lot of people are really focused on playing games. I'm going to actually put bronze wheels on this thing. I think that's going to go with the color scheme pretty well. That's enough of this one. Only mistake, I was really in a hurry to see what this looked like. And if the grill is visible, I probably should have painted the grill first, but we can reach anything that people can see. This kind of stuff is so much easier than things I got to deal with on a daily basis. Now, this is probably already ready. We're going to go back to the tin bits. I didn't think you had a lot of car variety in Interstate 76. I actually didn't play Interstate 76. I played Interstate 76 Nitro Pack. It's one of those expansions that came out like a year later or something like that. You know, same kind of missions. Oh, go out here and talk to this one guy who's a problem. As soon as you get over to his house, you know, nearby, he takes off in some van, shooting at you in reverse, driving like a maniac, throwing grenades. You know, you got to basically like stop him. Those kind of games have been, those kind of missions have been around forever. Good morning, Marcus. Marcus, you still in the Big Apple, or did you get some freedom and went to California and went to, no, wouldn't go to California, went to Virginia? I had a feeling you stayed local. Now I'm going to go ahead and paint the rear window in this 10-bit color as well. Not the side windows. Same thing with this hatch. They made it in shop class. Stayed in New York. Parade didn't go in front of your house, did it? Or near your apartment? I think you're like 4 or 5 blocks off where it was. That's got to be like a cluster. Okay, so that's going to be stuff that got put on in the weld shop. Now, what year Impala is this? That's tricky. Let's go 1972. See what a 1972 Impala looks like. We try to stay away from the parade forming area, but we've seen a few times since living on the Upper West Side. Yeah. Let's open this up and go 1972 Impala. 1972 Impala rear. We're just going to start looking for you. Okay, I know what the back of that thing looks like. Okay, cool. So that's not correct. All right. Yeah, that's the Impala back that I used to look at. Okay, let's go to, I don't know what the hell year it is. It's 19. Well, it already said 1970, so what's the 1970? Okay, this is looking a little bit more like it. It has these little 3 vertical things. This is not. This has 2 vertical things. But the whole thing is metal, so that's really all I wanted to do is figure that out. Now, I already kind of made a boo-boo. Not really a boo-boo, but didn't go about this in the most efficient way. We're going to paint this whole area back here black. I'm going to go ahead and primer this. I'd love to have some of these dudes that figures on foot, whatever, to go with this, but man, it seems like those figures are just really expensive. 1/64 scale. You know, I like some of these, Mexican gang guys, the guys that have the freaking socks pulled up as far as the shorts go down. So it just ends up looking like sneakers, socks, and then shorts. There's like no skin showing between them. That's their thing. I don't know why they do that, but they do that. They do that. Not everybody, but they make figures for all that kind of stuff. All right, we're going to work on the front now. Go back to the other metallic color. That's going to take a little bit of time to dry. Let's go ahead and do the front here. Rodin, still working on him. What scale is that, Rodin? Or they even give you one? Like, oh, we have this big monster. Well, what if there was a second one and they fought, you know? There's your storyline. You don't need anything other than that. There was an Xbox game, the original Xbox, and it was a Godzilla game. And it was this arena, let's call it a boxing ring. It wasn't, but it was like cities with buildings that were destructible. It wasn't anything great, but I rented it back when you could rent things at Blockbuster. Remember those folks? And it had a lot of unused potential. Could have been a lot better. What was it called? It was the original Xbox. Xbox Godzilla game. Destroy all monsters? Is that what it is? Xbox Godzilla game. Let's see what you got. Godzilla Destroy all monsters. All right, show me a screenshot. Oh, they have several. Godzilla Save the Earth. Show me some images. I'll be able to click on which one it is. Let's see, is this one? Destroy all monsters. Let's see what the... Godzilla Save the Earth. The problem I didn't like with it is that arena was too small. That's really what I didn't like about it, is the arena was just way too small. Yeah, I think it was Godzilla Destroy All Monsters is the one that was... Looks pretty dated, but it could look a lot worse. And it's not really that it looks that bad. It's just the environment is just really devoid of stuff. 1/160th. Yeah, I think it was this Destroy All Monsters. Not the sequel. The arena was just too small. You know, I don't like games that are too restrictive. Like, hey, look at this wonderful paradise. Can I walk up there? No, you can only go 100 feet this way and 100 feet that way. Never been really a fan of like fighting games. Not really been a fan of like games you have to jump and stuff. You know, get stressed out by missing a jump 50 times in a row kind of thing. Not really my cup of tea. Now, what's interesting here is that this is forming a little bit of a gap here. And I'm not sure why. And I'm not sure how to fix that either. Okay, well, it's not that big of a deal. It's not like the thing's going to fall apart or anything. They're made by a company called Paperworks, and I just never liked what they did. People liked them, but not I. Yeah. Yeah, some companies just do things in a way that don't really suit you sometimes. Well, you want to be entertained, and they're trying to make a buck. So sometimes those two things can cooperate. Sometimes they're at odds with each other. You know, the Transformers game that I have, whatever the hell it's called, there's actually been a lot of them. But the one that I did get is actually a pretty cool game. And it's all like cell animation. And it looks pretty neat. And I actually came across at Second and Charles some role playing rules. Not that I'm going to role play for a Transformers game, and I'm like, you know what? If I could get them 3D painted and they'd be like 3D printed, and it'd be like about 4 or 5 inches tall. Not 4 or 5 inches tall, whatever the hell this is. A couple inches tall, the smallest one, and then the largest one, however big they get. You know, that might be a fun game to play, but I don't know. Some of it would just be just nostalgia. Can't get into role playing games. I just feel like it's just for people that just don't paint. Like I can paint. Let's do stuff that we can use this skill on. Like if they had made a Transformer game by the same people who made that Harebrained Studios that made the BattleTech game, that would be awesome. That would be really, really good. Until they put too many humans in it. I'm not interested in seeing humans in a Transformer game. The same way I'm not interested in seeing raptors in a dinosaur movie. I don't give a flaming crap about raptors. Not big enough. You're playing a role-playing version of DBA. What'd you do wrong? How heavy do you think a Hot Wheels car is? I see on eBay where they sell a pound of random cars. Um, I don't know, but I'll tell you this. Watching Junkyard Joust, assuming they don't enhance the weight of them, a lot of the vehicles weigh about 45 grams. Now, I don't know how many pounds grams are because, I don't know what that is, but a pound of cars, I could certainly measure a pound of cars and give you an idea about how much that is. I don't have access to the weight, to the scale right now, but that's something we could certainly do. Um, a pound of cars. Uh, the biggest problem with having that is if you get a bunch of things that aren't compatible. Like, let's say you get a pound worth of cars, and let's say it's 20 cars, and you don't like half of them, but you can do something with them. But if they're like bigger, smaller, they're usually bigger, they're not compatible with each other. That would be annoying. Hold on. Do we have people up? If we do, I'll go get the scale and we'll figure it out. That's interesting. Hold on 1 second. If it's 45 grams, 9 or 10 cars. How much is a pound of Hot Wheels going for? Almost every car has value. £1. We'd probably ask Chat GTP, how much is £1? How many Hot Wheels is £1 of Hot Wheels? I bet you'll get an answer. It may not be right, but I bet it'll be close. 1 pound of die-cast vehicles. Yeah, it's like $20. That's not a good value. That's not a good value. You know, you can get them for $1 a piece. And the fact that they're beat up isn't really a problem. It is if you like want the graphics or something on them, but too many stock cars, man. I don't know anything less exciting than NASCAR. I see 1 pound go for $8 to $14. Yeah. Hold on, I'll be right back. Oh. Okay. We have. I know. You sidetracked me. I actually like this. I like being sidetracked. It's like a little break and we're still on topic, basically. All right. Let's see if we can figure out how to do this. This is on ounces right now. Pounds and ounces. Fluid ounces. Grams. Let's just go to pounds and ounces since that's what we're dealing with. Okay. And how do we clear this damn thing? Okay, good. That's how. Pounds and ounces. Okay, cleared. All right, so let's take the gas hole. The gas hole weighs an ounce. Okay? So that means 1.3 ounces. So that means you'd probably get, for a pound, you'd probably get 15 vehicles, 14 vehicles, something like that. Now, if you have an old school match Hot Wheels, this is all metal on metal. 1.6. Jalapeno popper, 1.2. The Mexicat, 1.2. What else do we have here? If they're all plastic, well, this doesn't weigh a damn thing. 0.3. I mean, tremendous amount of difference between them. Bronco, 0.8. This car. Now we're up to 2 pounds. get an armored car like this, really jacks things up. Now we're up to 4 ounces. Yeah, so you could probably, for £1, you could probably get 12, at least 12 vehicles. At least 12 vehicles. So, is that worth it? What do you say they were going for? I don't think that's that big of a savings. You're getting them for like 75 cents each. You're not getting to pick what you get. You know, the only advantage is there's some vehicles that just aren't available anymore. You know, if you're trying to get a vehicle that is an older vehicle, you're not going to be able to just go to a regular store and find one. You know, they're not made anymore. They rotate through stuff. So, anyhow, now you know. Now I know. So, $9.25 for £1 of Hot Wheels probably isn't a bad price. But then you have to add almost $9 shipping. So I'm like, yeah, I don't want it. Not interested. Here's like maybe $12 for £1. I'd rather pay $1 each and pick the ones I want, Yeah, the problem is it's like, okay, let's say you're someone who has a bunch of cars, right? And you have no interest in them, and you want to get rid of them. It's a pain in the ass to go to the post office and mail shit. It really is. So, like, you don't want to sell them for too cheap because it's like, I just give them away instead of going through all the trouble of trying to get somebody to buy them. I mean, that's what you kind of have to compete against. And I've done that before. There's some stuff that I was getting rid of, and I got rid of it instead of selling it because it just wasn't worth it. It's either too bulky, it's something that was very heavy and was not going to fetch any money. I mean, let's say you had a board game that, nobody really wants, and the shipping on it's $12. Do you want to go through all that trouble to break even and have to go to the post office? I'd rather throw it in the garbage can or, give it to somebody. Let them throw it in the garbage can. And shipping gets more and more expensive each day. So, and I just hate paying for shipping. I hate seeing, that's a good deal. And then you add shipping, you're like, son of a bitch. It just ticks you off that you're just pissing money away, and then you gotta wait for it. So yeah, really not that good of a deal. It is without shipping, but and then if you're trying to do stuff like your brother and like actually race them, a lot of these vehicles that are old have a lot of corrosion and don't roll well, which isn't a problem for me, but it is if you're trying to do a downhill race. Like imagine you buy some vehicle and it's got no chance of winning whatsoever. Okay. Got that initial color on here. Now, I'm going to go ahead and take these parts that have this 10 bits color on them, so to speak. And we're going to water this down a little bit. And apply this over the metal parts, letting some of this corroded type metal underneath show through. It's hard to find good deals on eBay. It is. It's almost like eBay is a place to like, I should have bought this, you want something that's not available anymore that, somebody happened to grab something of, and it's hard to find good deals on there. And the minimum price on just about anything is about, I mean, there's exceptions, but seems like about $10. So if you're trying to buy something that you don't want to spend $10 on, then eBay doesn't really work. By the time you add the cost of the item and the shipping, you're in the $10 range. And there's something you want to buy, you're like, I want to spend about $4 on this. Don't go to eBay. You're not going to find it. You're not going to cover the shipping. Okay, now it's looking a lot better because we don't have all those crazy colors that are distracting your eye. They're not an eyesore. You're not trying to like look around all the problems to find this. Yeah, now what we're going to do is we're going to, oh yeah, we need to do the bronze wheels on this. Even though probably not going to be really noticeable. Let's use bronze wheels on both of them. Let's start off with the tin bits. Let's do that. And let's get some of the bronze, which really should be called like brass. That's kind of what it looks like. You got to put on some glasses to see where the hell that thing is. It's down here. Use the hell out of this. Not gold. That's some kind of turret. No turrets on these things. These are a front-mounted machine gun and a rear-mounted machine gun. And there's more colors to go on it. I just need to building it up. Working on two at the same time because of drying time. This is the color I use for all like the Roman breastplates and things like that. This Viejo bronze seems to. I've gotten a long way with that thing. A lot of this is going to be dry brushed, and I'm wasting some of my time doing this, but some of it is noticeable. And if you put two vehicles next to each other, one that you did it on, one that you didn't, you'd be pretty convincingly be able to tell which one was which. I'm gonna use brass on this. And this basically matches the striping that's on the side of the vehicle. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know that I'm going to go to any stores today. Those days of getting out at midnight and going to Toys R Us and grabbing stuff, those are long gone. All right. Now I'm going to make an intermediate color between these two. It's like, we'll give it loud wheels. Not purple loud. That's what was on here before. Yeah, remember this is going to be like so. It's, unfortunately, the Rockets just uses 2 slots, but this has to be a truck, which basically means it has 3 crew members. Now, I don't know where the third guy sits. Maybe he sits in between the other 2 and he comforts the other 2. But it means they got 3 pistols in there. Yeah. If I do any color matching, I have a purple that's pretty close to this. But it may need a touch of this. May need a touch of leech purple. And what do we have here? Amethyst purple. This is metallic, this one's not. This is the part I really like to do, what we're about to embark on. Ooh, what a shiny color. Pretty. Now, this has a fair amount of silver in it. I can see. It doesn't smell as good as some of the other ones do. Let's take a little bit of this lich purple. Let's rinse this out so we don't get any metal flakes in here. Although I'd have to do this many times really for it to make much of a difference, but and of course we need some black too. Okay, man, thanks for stopping by. Hopefully we'll have something worthwhile for you to look at here soon. All right, so it's kind of a mix of these 2 colors here. There's a whole lot of silver in this amethyst. I can see it. Doesn't look bad, it just... I'm going to take a little bit of black. Oh, fuck yeah. Now, I specifically paint like this tin bits and stuff underneath it, so if I want to leave an area, like basically clear of things, I can. It just kind of also helps me figure out how the colors are gonna kind of going on there. But this looks pretty damn good. I don't know. Matching that. I'll do the same thing on the back here. Got to get back to work today. What? I guess you got. I guess your reward was you got to go off to late start. You need to talk to your boss about giving you some more time off. All right. Pretty happy with that right there. Of course, we need to do drippings and stuff on it to get it all to kind of work together. All right, let's bring up let's get the mid-range one here, this iron breaker. Hold on 1 second, be right back. All right. Bringing all these colors up. So let's get iron breaker here, and we're going to work on the grill of this car, some of the parts on the guns, and the same thing on the other car. All right, so this is significantly brighter. It's not mithril silver bright, but it's significantly brighter. So on here, we're going to take, and we're going to work on this grill for this Impala. Actually, it doesn't say this is an Impala, but this is an Impala. Okay. Pretty nice looking front that this car has. paint on little headlamps and all that stuff. Love doing that. Okay, and the back here, the center area is also gets painted. I don't know why the hell I rinsed that, but I did. I'm not used to doing two vehicles at once. We're just doing it from the standpoint of drying time. So the back of this, same thing, same treatment with the bumper. It says this chrome that goes around the lights. And we'll have some of the grille that's visible from up here. Okay. And I'm going to paint these door handles. I don't know if the original vehicle has a silver or not, but it's just an opportunity to have something that just looks a little different on there. Catch your eye. That one's done. All right. I don't think I'm going to color match that gun shield the same color as the purple. I could, but I think it looks a little too hokey. And we can go through that much trouble for that. All right. Anything else? We've already done the front, back. All right, let's do the tail lamps on these vehicles. I don't want to use flat red. I want one that has a little bit of orange in this vermilion. And by a little bit, I mean a very little bit. All right, make it dark red. And here we're going to paint. Tail lamps in that color. This one's a bit split. There's a light up here and a light on the bottom. I have a feeling the one on the bottom is not red. What year is this? 72 Ford Ranchero rear. Okay. 1972 Ford Ranchero rear. Am I correct? I win a prize. Okay, excellent. Now, oh, wrong one. Yeah, so this part down here will end up being white. All right, so. All right, now we'll do the fronts. For that, we need white. Here's the one that, nope. Here we go. Look at the improvement here we've been able to do. Let's see. I put my glasses on so I can see what the hell I'm showing you guys. See if it's even in focus. And I can't tell if it's in focus or not. There we go. And the more you work on it, the more it starts looking like it's all coming together. So probably one of the most important things you can do to this, and I mention this all the time, is do black lining. In this case, it's using what we call dark tone. Gnome oil is another product by Games Workshop. They changed the formula on it, so I'm not really a fan of how it behaves now. And this isn't going to be that useful on this vehicle because this is already mostly black. It's subtle, but it does make a difference. I'm going to add a little bit of water here. And we're just going to run it in. Oh, we don't have this on. There we go. We're just going to run it in the cracks, the nooks and crannies here. Crooks and grannies. Same thing with the door. Same thing with ledges and stuff like here of all these little compound pieces. There's a hood. And same thing on the doors over here on this side. Inside the grill. And then here it's just not that noticeable. You'll get some tea. I'll be right back. All right, so now we're going to go to the weathering phase because I'd like to glue these rockets down before we go any further. Might as well weather. And sometimes the weathering will end up covering up some of these details. The black lining, we'll have to come back and do that again. So let's move this out of the way so we don't accidentally run that over. All right, and of course we're going to get the three ubiquitous colors here. Chocolate brown, US field drab, and Iraqi sand. All right, we're going to start with the purple people eater. It's not the name of it, but the chocolate brown. Okay, it's part of the front. The wheels flip over here. Just the lower sections on this. Just something like that. Same thing with this vehicle. Take the rockets off. We don't need them to fall off. I'm not going to go as heavy maybe as on other vehicles so that we can see that this in fact does have some bronze wheels. Just kind of go with the motif. The last color is the one that's really going to stand out on this vehicle. It's the lightest one. It's going to be the one that's the most noticeable. Oh, hold on a second. I actually don't know if sometimes that thing jams. I don't really see what. Oh man, I removed. That stinks. Well, hopefully you guys weren't seeing this really interesting stuff that I had no intention to not see what was going on. Sometimes the comments here disappear. Let's bring that up. And we'll go here. And we will go here. And we'll go here. And okay. Didn't like we missed. This is looking like we missed everything. Good. All right. So this particular dark brown color, we're not going to put it on the bed of this vehicle. I'm not going to put it back here. Okay, it's just going to be like dust and shit. This is just kind of like mud and crap. It didn't make it. It didn't make it back there. All right. I'm not even going to rinse this thing. We're going to go to the next shade up, which is U.S. Field Drab. So we'll do the same thing. Put some U.S. Field Drab here. Hold on 1 second, folks. It's like 36 degrees here, so that's not a point. That's like awesome. I need more of that. No telling what you get this time of year. It could be really cool like this. It could be like another bug-infested hot box, like always. All right. May do some of this color, but let's get some of this off. What happens when we do something like this? Yeah, this is probably fine. Putting some of this on here. Even on the edges here of this vehicle. But you got to get most of it off. Well, you don't have to do it. I choose to do it that way. You can do whatever you want. I don't judge your vehicle, your rules. You do it how you want to. I'll do the same thing here. Okay, now we go to Iraqi sand. The final highlight. Dusty color. And I use a different triad of weathering colors if I was going to do something in the desert, but for most temperate zones, these three work fine. Like doing World War II armor, all my World War II European armor, my Eastern Front all uses this stuff. I go to North Africa, I start doing a little bit different things, but this works most of the time for everything. Just a little bit of dusting there. And we're still gonna do drippings, rust stains, things like that to make them look like. This really is a vehicle. All right, same thing with this guy here. A little bit of Iraqi sand. Okay, I think I'm gonna stop like this for the morning, not because I'm bored, but I got some other things we got to do today. But we got pretty far here. Let's see if I can give you guys a close up. Let's unplug this. We're gonna come over here, flip this video around, and you'll probably have a better view of what these look like at this point with a non-reversed camera. All right. So we still have some drippings and stuff to do on them. Make the guns pop a little bit more. Well, we got some tail lights painted. Man, I've been on here almost 4 hours. I didn't realize it. That's the problem with this hobby. Things really fly by. So, well, I appreciate you guys taking the time to come by. Don't forget to send a like if they like this kind of stuff. Subscribe if you want to find out where I'm at. I think I was like one viewer away from 2,500 subscribers. It's a slow thing. I don't really care how many people are watching me. It's just cool that some people find some value in this hobby. But we'll see you guys on the next one. We'll see you at the Gaslands, and we'll probably finish these guys up and start working on several of these other things here. All right, folks. Enjoy your Friday. Bye-bye.